We are down here at the Wes Watkins Research and Extension Center in Lane, Oklahoma, and joining us today is Dr. Jim Shrefler. Dr. Shrefler, thank you for having us down here again today, and it looks like we're talking about watermelon.
Glad you could be here, yes. Yes.
One of our favorites in the summertime. So
yes.
Can you tell us all the keys to how to grow a good crop of watermelon?
Okay, yeah. And to start with, if you live in an area where you have the right environment and soils and things like that, that's the first starting point. It's very important.
So what are some of those soils?
And this soil here is called a fine sandy loam soil. Generally for watermelon, they will do best on some sort of a pretty sandy soil. A deep sand is actually maybe one of the better soils.
So good drainage.
And good drainage,
So
yes.
if you don't have deep sandy soil, maybe a raised bed, is that what we...
Sure, that would be good,
Okay.
you know. And you can grow watermelons, I don't want to discourage people. You can grow watermelons in a lot of good places if you, again, a deep topsoil is important because they have a deep rooting
So when should we
system.
be thinking about starting our watermelon crop?
Okay, many people want it, well, they're anxious and want to get, you know, in the middle of April, end April, they say, well, past the fast freeze, I want to plant my watermelon.
Right, April 15th, we got to go out and plant, right?
And that's maybe okay for tomatoes, but watermelon's a very warm-natured crop, and really to get good seed germination, seedling development, plant establishment, you really need that soil to be warmer.
Okay.
So I kind of like to wait almost until the 1st of July, of June actually, to plant watermelon.
Okay, sort of like okra, right? Is that
kind of like okra? Yes, yeah, kind of like okra.
And when you're planting those, do you direct sow or do you start with transplants?
You can do it both ways. Again, for my recommendation for people that, unless you really need to use transplants, if you're growing seedless melons, for example, my recommendation is direct seed. You're going to have healthier plants. And again, if you wait until that soil's nice and warm, you'll put the seed in the ground and they'll be up within 4 or 5 days, and that plant will just take off growing if you keep it watered.
All right, well, it looks like your crop is doing pretty well here, and we're kind of shooting this ahead of time, so this is not, I know we're going to air it next May, but this is not May. I'm going to go ahead and say that.
Okay.
But yeah, we've got a good crop here, so you can expect that.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about how much you've been growing watermelon out here at Lane.
Well, we've been here at this research station, and actually I'm the only horticulturist here now, but 20 years ago, or less than that, 15 years ago, there was a pretty good group of people, all of them involved somewhere or other with watermelon, because it's an important crop. And it's a good crop because it's a crop that'll be productive even in our these hot summers like we're having when the temperature's above 95 degrees every day. So,
well, yeah, we're midsummer right now, and tell us what how our watermelon are progressing.
Well, these watermelon vines are doing quite well, actually. We have some fruit that are probably about 3 weeks or so away from being ripe. Now, we've kind of been lucky here. I have not used any fungicides on this crop, and that is if you were really growing watermelons and wanted to protect them from the hazard of disease that will affect the foliage, and there's several, you would want to put a fungicide on there.
Okay.
Again, I didn't do it, haven't done it, and we've been lucky because these vines are very healthy. And in a year when you have pretty dry conditions, don't have too frequent rainfalls, you may get away and you may not have much in the way of those foliar disease problems.
Okay.
But again, it's kind of an insurance practice. Policy would be to apply fungicides every couple weeks.
Okay. And as far as watering goes, I know watermelon like water, but they also like good drainage, as mentioned by the soil. So.
Right, and you might be able to see these are planted on somewhat of a raised bed, a little hill, and that's to improve the drainage. You know, if you do get even though it's a sandy soil, if you do get a real wet period, the plant's roots can get waterlogged, and that can set them back.
Right, and you have this on drip irrigation.
And we use drip irrigation, and that's just a very efficient way to be able to irrigate. You put the water right where it's needed for the plant to use it, and you're not watering the rest of the soil surface and encouraging new weed growth.
Right, So what are the big question, I guess, and it looks like we've got some watermelon that are coming on. When do you know they're ripe?
Well, one way to determine if they're ripe down in this area is watch when the wildlife start feeding on them. And sometimes it might be crows, it might be coyotes, it might be raccoons, it might be foxes.
So they're the best indicator.
They all seem to know pretty well when that fruit are ripe.
Okay. So that's also a problem, though.
That is a problem, yes, that is a problem.
So once you find out that they're signaling that they're ripe, what do you do about that? Okay,
there's, again, working with, for a commercial grower, they might want to put in some tall fences around their fields and various other things. It's a serious problem, though. But for a small planting in a home garden situation, something that we found, and we've tried this several years now, is to just stretch some netting, bird netting, horticulture fabric would work
Uh-huh.
over the vines. When you know that the fruit are just about ripe, go ahead and cover them, and the ends that keeps those animals away from them.
So they just don't want to climb underneath that netting to get in there.
They don't climb under it. They don't climb underneath it. No, and I haven't seen them even tried to eat through the birds don't peck through the netting either. We haven't seen that so far, at least.
All
So
right.
so just an idea. That's something. So if you have some materials like this around, just don't throw them away. Keep them, and you can put them to use. You'll only have it on there for a couple weeks. Just put it on when those fruit are ready, and then remove it.
It seems like a really easy mechanical method that it would be a good deterrent for those pests.
Sure. Something easy to do.
Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing this, Dr. Shrefler. We hope you enjoyed this video as part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on the OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.